I think we're going, man.
All right. Word. Holy
We're
shit.
back.
Here we are. Welcome.
So, Brandon, I just got a little pop-up that says avoid legal snags by telling people they're being recorded. So, Brandon, you are being recorded.
Oh, Jesus. I'm totally fine with that, actually, Brady. You're
Oh,
the
that's
one person I
awesome.
would totally allow to record
That's
me.
awesome. So far I've done all of the past 10 episodes without telling you guys.
And
So,
I'm
I just want
suing you on those last 10, all
I,
right? So, just for the record.
That's perfect. I'm so excited for that. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 11 of the Weekly Anabolic. If you haven't gone and checked out episode 10, make sure to go give that a listen. We had our special guest, Nick Loff, on, and it was a fantastic episode. Definitely learned a lot. So go give that one a listen or watch, depending on which platform you're on. And give it one of those likes because we appreciate that. Helps us out. Helps more people see it.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So Brandon, what's
Slap
going
that
on?
like button,
That's
subscribe,
right.
comment. And yeah, dude,
Do
I'm,
all
I'm
the
doing well.
things.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly.
Good. What's been going on? I feel like it's been kind of quiet from you lately.
I know,
What
dude.
you been up to?
I haven't really like lifted my head up in like 3 weeks, I feel, or like 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Like after New Year's, like that was pretty much it. I was kind of just like I've been on coast mode.
Yeah. What does that mean for you?
Um Eating, I've found like a new hobby kind of. I don't really know if I should call it a hobby, but like I've definitely found something to occupy me when I'm not like bodybuilding full time. So like typically like 100% of my day is consumed by just like it's revolved around eating or the gym and
Yeah.
then work, which also I'm in the gym still.
Right.
Or like we're working out or something. So it's like I'm always revolved around it. Um, so, I found a little something something to kind of keep me a little distracted on the side here.
Are we gonna share that information?
Yeah, I guess so. So
What it,
not for nothing,
are you a
but
video gamer?
no, that's not. Yeah, you can catch me on my Twitch stream actually. No.
You know
Um,
what? There's a lot of guys that just like video gaming. It's a
Dude,
great
no lie, I'm not gonna
great
lie, I love
escape.
video games. I do
Yeah,
love me
I
some
do
video
too.
games.
I
And
miss
I have a
playing them.
lot of friends that also play them too.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I had one day last week where I was just so overwhelmed with everything that I stopped everything I was doing. I was like, I need to just play a video game.
Yo.
And I just downloaded a video game and played it. And
You
that
don't
was
normally do that, do you?
no, I never stopped working. So
On your
I was just
PC?
yeah. I was just like I need the mental space for a quick second.
Yeah.
And I literally played Fallout Shelter.
Okay. And what do you think?
Like it was great. It was an
Yeah.
awesome like 2 hours that I just kind
Hmm.
of mental breaked. And I didn't want to play like an online multiplayer game because those are so frustrating because
Yeah,
I'm not good.
they get pretty intense.
I'm not good, right?
Yeah.
And so it was good to just like play a game that I could half mentally be there for.
Mm.
So I totally understand why people's mental breaks are on video games. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
uh, side note, now gone. What is your mental break?
So, I mean, it's not really a mental break actually. Now that I think about it too. So, okay, basically, I got a little bit into the stock market, which is kind of cool because I've been meaning to
Uh-huh.
for a while now, like a few
Oh,
months. I think a lot of people are kind of getting in the stock market too. So,
yeah, a
I'm
lot of
I
people
guess,
did. A lot of people hopped in during COVID,
yeah,
which honestly was actually the perfect time to do it.
that was a
Um,
huge opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah, like especially now that I've been looking at stuff, like I realized that, like when I kind of
yeah,
first started looking into this a couple months ago, like you like scroll back to March and like everything tanked, like everything was basically on like a
oh
giant
yeah,
fire sale. Like you should
yeah,
definitely, if you didn't get in there, you should have gotten in. But
yeah.
you know, so I'm coming in a little bit late now, but we've been making some good progress, so I'm like pretty like happy about it. I don't know.
You should have told me, dude.
Are you in this?
I've been in this for years.
Bro, get at it. All right, Brady, join my
I've been
Brady.
I've been investing for a long time.
Dude, this is all I had no idea. Brady, what the heck? Yo, we have
Yeah.
something else we can bond over now.
Yes.
Another, who would have
We're
thought?
not just meatheads.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, you
well,
should
word.
have
Yeah,
said something.
so after that, Brady, after this, I'm gonna invite you into my Discord chat because I have a couple of my friends that are in this Discord chat,
Oh,
and we just like talk about this stuff.
just
So,
talk about stocks.
hey,
Okay,
all
cool.
right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Get on your finance, everybody.
Yeah, man, make some money from your phone because that's a thing. Although I will
Yeah.
say that it's much easier off of like a laptop or like having like a desktop,
Sure.
if you really want to get
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah,
But you can still make
I
a
don't play
really
off
great,
my phone anymore, but yeah.
yeah. Mm. But
But
it's much better than playing video games because I'm actually making money. So
yeah,
um,
you can make money or you can lose money.
you can also lose
It
some
can go
money. Yeah,
both ways.
yeah, exactly. Especially if you don't know what you're doing.
It's not just a money making thing, but there are
Mm.
ways to make it pretty successful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's depending on a lot of different factors, but we
Hmm.
won't get into business and finance
This
today.
ain't stock talk.
This ain't stock talk. That's the next channel. Everybody be on the lookout for it
Yeah.
after Brandon and I talk after this episode.
All right,
All
Brady, how
right.
you doing, man?
I'm good. It's this week's been weird. Last like
Mm-hmm.
week and a half has been really weird. I just switched and actually this is a question that we'll talk about later, but I just switched back over to a stim pre-workout. So I switched back to hostility after being on Bloodshot for like a month and a half. And all my training sessions have been at like 7, 8 p.m. And
Mm.
it just like messed my sleep up.
Yeah.
And so I just was under recovering for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize why, but I just wake up and I was just tanked
Mm.
and then I finally like start to come back alive by the time training came around. And then it was just this vicious cycle. And I just watched all of my like progress and capability for output in the gym just like drop off.
Yeah.
Everything felt like shit. Like my main output movements were just like tanked, couldn't do them, nothing felt right.
Mm.
Um, but we've got it all fixed. We're on the days that I'm training late, I'm back off stim. And but the last 2 days I've trained early. I've trained at like 2, 2 or 3, and man, it feels so good to train
It
before like
does.
fucking midnight.
Yeah, it does.
Like I just
Noticeable
have
difference.
yeah, and so my training sessions have been wild the last couple days.
Cool.
Um,
So your
but
sleep's back.
yeah, so everything's kind of back in order. I've slept really late the last couple days, just kind of like it's felt like I've just been making up for everything that was lost, but I think
Mm.
we're getting back to where we needed to be. So
There you go.
we're getting there. Um yeah, a lot of my sessions, I don't know exactly how to quantify what I did, but it's like you know how in your training years there's moments where things just like get turned up a notch,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your training just gets turned up a notch and you're training more intensely and you're getting more out of your sessions. Well, one of those happened recently. And so I walk out of every session just like absolutely smashed, which
Yeah.
is a little bit worrying me, but I'm still recovering. So I'm okay with it. But I've never been sore and just like beat up
Yeah.
the way that I am currently. Like I finish a session, I'm like, there's no way I was doing anything else.
Yeah.
And then the
Mm.
whole rest of the night, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm already sore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I just turned some stuff up and I don't know. I'm always looking for that next notch in training of like, how can I train harder? How can I
Yeah.
train harder?
Was it
And
mental for you, or is it just physically just doing
I,
it?
th- I think it was one of those things where I told myself I just need to shoot higher. I started becoming aware of the fact that I was doing every single thing that I told myself I was going to do in the set. So if I walked into a set, I was like, all right, I'm going to get 6. I would get exactly 6. If I
Mm.
walked in, I was like, I'm going to get 8. I would get exactly 8. And so I just started shooting higher. Um, like with the biggest one to notice was my front squats recently. I went from 245 to 315 in like 4 weeks.
Damn.
And I just like I did
Damn, Brady.
I did 245. I was like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna make a big jump, and I did 275, and I matched reps. I was like, oh, sick. That felt good. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna throw on 3 plates, and
Bro.
and I did it. I was like,
Mm.
oh,
Dude, that's
turns out,
awesome.
if you just tell yourself you're gonna do something, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
To a
Yeah.
certain degree, I suppose, but I think we can all push our barriers a little bit
Yeah.
higher than what we think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I think so
so
too, dude. I think
yeah,
there's a lot of like runway that we have covered up for ourselves that we don't, see. We're definitely capable of way more. Like, I think that happened with 225 for me because I
yeah,
honestly did not think that I'd ever be able to like touch 225, and now I can. I touched it. I
right,
touched the butt. I
yeah,
touched
I
it.
touch it.
That was a
Yeah,
Finding
it's
Nemo
just like,
reference, guys, not a weird reference, just for the record.
yeah, it's just like it was one of those things where you know you just kind of have to go for it, and you have to go into it with the confidence that you're just gonna do it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and set your sights high and just find a way to make it happen,
Yeah.
you know. And so I've kind of been doing that a lot more recently, and I think it's gonna work its way to really showing and making a difference for me.
It's also much different. Like you're not just like pulling the trigger on something like you're not just like picking something out of the blue, like a number like out of the blue, and you're just like, all right, I'm
Right,
gonna do that today, and you haven't really focused on like your form or anything like that. Like you've already
right,
tightened up everything, you've learned all of the rules, and you can confidently kind of like challenge your barriers because you've learned all these rules. Now you can kind of
right.
break them a little bit and then tidy things up if you need to. So
Yeah. So what led to the 315 front squat was months of bashing my head against the wall trying to get my form right and just get the feel right.
mm,
And then after that, a couple weeks of feeling what it felt like to fail with the bar and what would happen if I actually failed with the bar, and feeling confident that even if I couldn't get the weight up, I still wasn't going to die because I have pins there in the rack. Um, and so that, on the side of failing is like, if you've never actually failed with the weight, um, having the pins there doesn't actually give you any sense of security because you still haven't gone through failing yet. So at some point, it's good to actually feel out failing a rep,
yeah,
and
I agree.
understand that the safety equipment that you have there is actually going to do its job. And so once I became confident in failing and that I wouldn't hurt myself failing, I I then took a look at what my back squat looked like, roughly how comfortable was I with a back squat, because that will roughly tell me what my legs can handle, right? If I can back squat 315, I'm like, okay, I know my legs can output this amount of weight, right?
Hmm.
I know it can happen. So that gives me the confidence that if my legs can handle it, I'm at least going to get somewhere. And then really the leap of faith was in my warm-ups that I wasn't going to fold and that my brace was solid.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the steps to it is I made sure, everything was solid form-wise, rep-wise. And then I tested failure to make sure I could do it safely. And then I realistically looked at what I could do in a similar movement, something that has a similar pattern, and then I took a jump.
Word. And it
and it
worked
worked
out.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
worked out.
Good shit. Did you work up into 315 or did you have a top set and then you were like, I can do 315?
This is how my warm up went. I went 1 plate, 2 plate, 2.5 plate, 3.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. I walked into that session knowing I wanted to do 3 plates.
That's dope. Yeah. That's
Um,
usually, those are always the best
yeah,
sessions.
yeah. And I think I was on a Saturday session, and in the Saturday call with Nick, I was like, Nick, I'm gonna front squat 3 plates today.
What do you say?
And he was just like, go for it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, can't back down now. I said it in the call, and
Yeah.
so I had to crank it out.
There it is.
But
Good
yeah,
shit,
that
buddy.
was
Congrats.
that was cool. So a lot
That's a
of
big
stuff like
win.
that's kind of has been going on in my training. Feeling a lot better about how my leg training is going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm also feeling a lot better about how my push training is going
That's
recently.
good.
Because I kind of like minorly had some shoulder issues going on that kind of sprung
Okay.
up. I think we talked about this one of the times on one of the calls, very briefly,
Yeah, I think so, actually.
maybe.
Very briefly. And
Yeah.
maybe.
But I had some shoulder pain start to come back. I think it was actually just it was in the subacromial space, right in your
Mm-hmm.
shoulder, right? Uh, either a chest bicep tendon was probably inflamed. I think it was probably my bicep tendon. Um, but was causing some pain. It made it really hard to bench, and so it kind of reshaped how I approached my push days. And in doing that, it nursed the injury, but also I get way better pumps in my chest days now because I relearned how to do all of the movements that I had to do in in a fashion that forced me to fully use my chest versus, kind of getting into my shoulder or, you know, pulling too much with my biceps when I'm holding the bar is
Mm-hmm.
it just forced me to kind of rework the way I do push days. And so that was cool. So that was really a blessing in disguise.
So what
I
did
was
you
like
actually do?
to change or to my
Yeah,
shoulder.
to like fix that issue.
Um, well, I've done a couple different prep movements to start, which has been really big. I do a lot more hanging. I hang from a bar probably every session now.
Dude, the hanging is awesome.
It is so good,
Even I'm
and
noticing improvements with the
yeah,
hanging.
it makes a huge difference. But so what I do a lot now is I actually go through 3 different hanging positions. I'll hang. Yeah, but I'll go pronated, neutral,
Super.
supinated. Um, because when this issue was happening, I couldn't fully supinate,
Mm-hmm.
and so now just getting myself to hang in the supinated position has really kind of opened everything back up. Um, I've worked some other shoulder stability, band work like here, under, over, those kinds of things. That's fixed it up a lot. And then what's been pretty big is just paying a bit closer attention to my my shoulder rotation in my pressing movements. If
Okay.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
basically, how I'm setting up in the bench, and then when I'm lowering down, what would happen a lot is I would actually
Internally
internally
rotating.
rotate at the shoulder to get down to my chest,
Mm-hmm.
and then have to like way dip back out.
Yeah.
And now I pay way more attention to staying externally rotated and just pulling the bar down, and
Yeah.
it's made a big difference.
Okay. Yep. That seems about right.
Yeah, so that's what's going on there. It's still not 100%, but it's definitely a lot better than it was. Um,
Good shit.
so yeah, and then My back days are just back days.
Mm.
They've always been a really stable day for me. There's nothing super amazing, but
Okay.
nothing bad either.
Okay.
So
I've been
that's
loving rowing, dude.
yeah, you're really
Yeah,
feeling it.
I've been loving rowing.
It's so good when rows just like work well.
Yeah.
They're moving smoothly. Rows are
Mm.
so nice.
Yeah.
Very cool movement.
Yeah. I also think it's the fact that it's 225 too. I
Feels
know that's
good.
not very much weight, but it's a good amount of weight for me. I'm
That's a
like,
good amount of weight, man.
yeah, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
No, when
Yeah, I
I'm
weighed in at
bagging.
like 145 this morning. I've been weighing in much heavier, like averaging much heavier. So I'm also
Yeah.
really about that. That's good.
Yeah, man. You're gonna
Okay.
crack 150 here pretty soon.
Coming for it. Coming for it.
Taking credit. It's the cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat is really helping out. I know why.
Cream of wheat is the
Mm-hmm.
gains meal.
I've been trying to buy pizzas at night, but then the last time I bought a pizza, the guy was like all upset at me, and I was like, "What the? Why are you all upset at me, man?" Like they were just all so upset. I don't
Damn.
know why. Yeah. So now I haven't gotten a pizza in like a week and a half because like I'm like, yo, these pizza guys are mad at me,
They
but I
don't
need a
like you.
pizza. I need a pizza connect though, so I gotta
You
find me a
have
pizza.
to switch over to sushi, dude.
Mm-hmm. I just had sushi.
I
I had
love
some sushi
sushi.
tonight.
Sushi's definitely my favorite cheat meal, for sure.
Dude, Kelsey and I have been eating so much sushi. Like whenever we hang out now, we go get
Yep,
sushi.
every time. It's the best cheat meal
Mm-hmm.
because it's not greasy.
Yeah, no.
It's not greasy. It's literally just a bodybuilding meal.
And
It's
you can eat so
seafood and
much.
rice.
Yeah, literally. Just protein and carbs.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, man. So you're doing well.
Yeah, kind of. My sleep's I'm not like accelerating as or I'm not making the progress as fast as I would, but who's to be picky, you know? It is
Yeah,
what it is.
fair enough.
I've had like the past couple weeks have definitely been a little bit wonky. My sleep's been pretty off. I
Yeah.
took that like deload when I went to go see Kelsey. So from like basically the like 30th to the 7th, I like didn't do anything. Which was really nice actually. Don't get me wrong.
Mm,
And then after that, it was kind of like my week back and just kind of like getting back in the swing of things. But then of course, I was like really into stocks because I was like just getting into this. So like I really got into it on our anniversary, like our anniversary week. And Kelsey was
oh
like, "Get
my
off
god.
your phone!" I was like, "Okay, okay, okay,"
I need to
but I like
watch the
couldn't do it.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um,
I have
I've been
to
like
I'll have to share
super
some
heavy.
things from with you.
All right, yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Please do. Yeah, I've read a few I've been listening to this one book. I've watched a lot of videos, I've read a lot of stuff, and it's a pretty crazy atmosphere, dude. It's like a whole nother world, you know.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
made it to all the Saturday calls back in like God, it must have been like fucking March.
Yeah.
March or April.
Mm-hmm.
On one of the Saturday calls, Nick and I got talking about stocks, and so I sent him a whole email with that was basically like a starter ebook that
Like a
I wrote.
portfolio.
Yeah, I was just like, here's what each thing means. Like this is the lingo. This is what it means. This is
Uh-huh.
how you should interpret it. Like, these are the
Mm.
different things you can go through. This is, if you want to invest safely and not really want to pay attention to it that much, this is kind of the route you can
Yeah.
go. Or if you'd prefer to really watch the market and have some fun with it,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more like gambling, then, here's how you can go after it.
Yeah. There's like
All
throwing your money away, and then there's like mitigating the risk. So you got to do what you can to like mitigate the risk, but still, there's always going to
yeah,
be a little
there's
bit.
plenty of ways to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of people don't know them off the start.
No, yeah, for sure. I know.
Uh,
Some people probably, I could imagine, dude. I could totally see how you could just like bury yourself
oh yeah,
in
really
days,
easily.
in a day, probably. You could bury yourself
Really,
in a
really
day,
easily.
without a doubt.
Yeah,
In
super
a few
quick.
minutes, probably.
Yeah, depending on what you're doing, for sure.
Yeah. Life
Uh,
savings. All in. Penny stock. Take my money.
yeah, but anyway, not stock talk.
Yeah, not stop talking. Not stop.
I have a couple questions for us.
Hey, let's do it.
Some lovely friends wanted to ask us a question, so First off, shout out to our boy Kev. He's on the team with Team Gloff, and he's got some questions for us today. So, first thing, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. What supplements are you currently taking? He says with a mouthful. All right, Brady.
Okay. So
Welcome back.
we back. So right now I'm currently taking probably all the same stuff you are, Kev, and Brady. Fish oil, magnesium, zinc, vitamin K, boron,
Boron.
and that's really it. I think. And then so that's just like my like AM like vits and mins. And then I ran out of hostility like over a month ago. So I've been actually wanting to come back into hostility, and I didn't have a pump at the time. So
Hmm.
I had that hostility, which is the pre-workout, and I also had an EAA as well. So I had an amino acid and also creatine, not a
Gotcha.
steroid.
What not a steroid, but fun fact, it is the the chemical that is on our front cover for
Yeah,
this
we should have had
podcast,
like
the
a giveaway or
thumbnail.
something. Should have been like, yo, if you can guess the molecule, we'll give you something.
Right.
Anything. Name my first
Well,
child after you.
so the supplements that I'm taking, this is actually where I'm a terrible bodybuilder. I am the worst at taking my supplements.
Mm-hmm.
So currently the only supplements that I actually take is my pre-workout mix and an intra,
I was gonna say,
which
unless
is
it's like your pre-workout.
which is
That's the one that gets nailed.
a little bit of carb powder and then some EAAs.
Mm.
And yeah, my pre-workout, I think no, it doesn't actually. But yeah, there's nothing fancy in there. There's some mushrooms and stuff for focus and all that stuff, but nothing that I can list off the top of my head. Um, caffeine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I take a pretty good amount of that. But yeah, this is where I'm a really bad bodybuilder. What I should be taking is creatine, magnesium, omega 3s, K2 and D3. Um, there's one
Zinc.
more. Zinc. That's it. Yeah. And I have all of them. Literally,
Yeah.
they are all sitting in the cabinet right next to me,
Yep.
and I just don't take them.
Yep. And
It's
I
one of
will
those.
also admit, like with me as well, like I'll take them like 3 days in a row and then like forget like for 5 days and then be like, oh
Right.
shit.
Yeah,
So
it's
that
it's
does
one of
happen.
those. It's one of those things that everything else is super like detailed with what
Hmm.
I do, but the supplements for some reason I can't just get myself to like find a routine that works for the pills.
Yeah.
Like
What
I
is usually
just
the
can't.
deterrent? Is it usually you just miss them in the AM?
Yeah, a lot of times because a lot of times I get up and I instantly hop into work.
Hmm.
So I'll get up right at when I'm supposed to log in for work, and then I sit down and I never leave my chair.
Okay. Maybe instead of making it like an AM thing, because I'm also guilty of this, you like just make it with like your meal. So like
Your
whenever you have
first,
meal
yeah.
one, you just like meal one, you always have your vitamins or something. But the one thing I actually started doing was because I sometimes I just like don't take them in the AM because I just like miss out. I've just decided to, for some reason, I don't know why, that I have this unspoken law that if it's past like 9 a.m., I'm not allowed to take my vitamins or minerals. So I'm just like, okay, it's 2 o'clock and I didn't take them yet. I'm going to take them. It's okay. Not gonna explode. So I just take them
Gotcha.
anyways. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know why I'm really weird about them that way, but yeah, it's an oversight for me, big time.
Yeah.
And it really should be something I should get on top of, especially creatine.
Creatine, come on, dude.
Like
Yeah,
I
you
should
gotta.
really get. I've thought about figuring out how to make that better. And I was like, well, what if I just get a creatine powder and then I just make it part of my pre-workout mix?
Yeah, you should.
And that's definitely what I'm gonna end up doing to make sure I at least get that in. Because I'm missing out on the gains. So
Yeah, you could be getting a couple reps
I could
here.
be getting, a
You don't even a rep.
couple more fibers. It's
You don't
fine.
even a rep on the tank, you know. Yeah,
So
could have had those couple fibers, but I left them on the table.
yeah, I left them on the
Yeah.
table. But
And
yeah,
the supplements are also like those are supplementary too. So like they're
right.
not. It's not like if you miss them, you're gonna have like a really bad day. Like if Brady misses his magnesium one day, he's not gonna just like have a really bad day. Actually, but sometimes if you like mess with magnesium a little bit too much, or if like your electrolytes are a little bit off, or if you just haven't been hydrated, sometimes that can mess with you. So
Yeah.
that was a bad example.
The one
But
the one that reason why I don't care too much about the magnesium is I think in our sense we generally use magnesium to help mitigate cortisol.
mm,
And I'm not really a very stressed person as it is. So my cortisol levels are generally pretty low.
mm.
Um, so it's just one of those things that I don't know if I'll really see too much benefit from it. So I can very easily push it off.
Mm.
But yeah, creatine is definitely one I got to get back on top of.
It's also
Um,
good for that blood pressure too, I think.
yeah, probably. There's a couple different good uses for it, but
Yeah. It's also a contractile thing as well with magnesium. There's a few things like you just said. There's a few things that are okay with it.
right. Yeah. Omega 3s, definitely got to get back on those. But I have been trying to eat more fatty fish
Good.
recently, so like salmons. So a little bit of a toss up there, but should definitely get those back in. Um, so if there's any two that I could pick out of the list to make sure that are consumed on a regular basis, it would probably be creatine and omega 3s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
that's
think
that's
creatine.
outside of yeah, that's outside of a pre-workout, right?
Mm,
An intra. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've really been liking the intra. It's definitely I think it's been a big part of, that notch turn up thing that I was talking about.
I think
It's
so too.
yeah, it's really helped me kind of push all the way to the end and really recover pretty well. So
Yeah.
it's I'm not
I
I
don't.
don't have a scientific study on my own body and all of that, but correlation might be causation on this one.
It might take the cake on this one. Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I totally
What were you
forgot what I
saying?
was gonna say. I totally
Something
forgot what I
about
was gonna say
interest.
actually. About what?
Something about interest, probably. Are you taking an intro?
Um. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I haven't taken an intra because my stack fizzled and burned a couple months ago, unfortunately, and I just never re-upped, which I should.
Yeah.
I'm actually probably gonna go buy some stuff. I should buy some stuff after this. That's what I should do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was rocking the intra carb, the pre-workout, the EAA, and the creatine. And I was actually I was getting super nauseous, and I think it was just because I
Really?
had too much. There was either maybe too much caffeine, too high of a serving of caffeine, or too much liquids, which I think it was probably a small milieu of both. But the
Okay.
liquids maybe weighed a little bit more of a factor in it because
Yeah.
I used to like
How
finish my leg days and vomit, and I was like, what the fuck is going
that
on?
one that one I can see. Sometimes I gotta catch myself on leg days too with it.
Yeah.
Um, how fast are you drinking your intro though?
I will destroy the first half of it like really quick. Yeah,
Oh,
probably like but only like 15-20 minutes outside of my workout. So I'm not even in the gym yet. I just like
oh, okay.
put it back. And then I'll
Hmm,
like sip on the rest until like half my workout.
gotcha.
But
Interesting.
sometimes I'll get to the point where I have like a couple ounces left in the bottom and I'm like, I don't feel so hot
I
right
got
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But and now that I'm thinking about it, it hasn't happened to me. I have not gotten sick since. I haven't taken and I haven't had the pre, and I haven't had like that amount of liquid as well. I'm not
Yeah.
blaming the pre necessarily. I just think it was just too much liquid too fast, and I was just
Yeah.
literally trying to internally combust with weight either on my back or in my hands. So
Right.
makes sense that something would give.
Yeah. Yeah. Goes like that. I don't know. I think that's one of those fine balances. I always end up, I always find that I start drinking. I kind of sip it through the whole like. I start sipping it just before I go to start working out, and then on probably my last main exercise before I get to accessories, I'll just finish whatever is left in the bottle.
Yeah.
That way, I've got it all in before I'm actually done training.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really don't drink that much during training. Like I have to remind myself to take drinks.
Same.
But yeah, I don't know. That's been working all right for me. I do have some days where on my leg days I'm like, yeah, maybe not. On
Mm-hmm.
so, and I think that is an intro thing because I didn't have that issue when I was just taking a pre-workout on my leg days.
The nausea.
Yeah, just like kind of feeling like you want to die.
A little queasy. Yeah, like each
Yeah,
inhale, you're like, I might puke.
yeah, and it's like kind of thing I should take a little bit longer in between sets, kind of
Yeah.
thing, because
Yep.
you need to sit. Yeah,
Hmm. And it
so
wouldn't happen after like my RDL. Like I'd do my RDL, and then as soon as I got to
yeah,
leg press would fuck me up. And then I'd start doing the lunges right after that, and it's like
yeah.
KO puke.
That I could see. Long sustained sets
Yeah.
will
I know. I'm
definitely
like
get you.
chilling under this leg press for like 5 minutes already, like per set, because I'm just like
Right.
like breathing in between, and then I feel all queasy after my leg press, and then it's time to go lunge for like 8 minutes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, maybe pull out the intra on leg days
Hmm.
or half it.
Yeah, or half it.
Yeah.
That's another fine. I'm fine with that too. I haven't had the intro in a minute, so I plan on reincorporating it though because the intro was nice, and I was also getting a little bit more calories from it because I'd throw
Okay.
50 grams of carbs into my intro, or I'm sorry, 25 grams, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was 25 grams intro, um, but it's still
Yeah.
something.
Gives you
And
some
enough.
cows. Helps you recover.
Yeah, exactly. Helps shunt some nutrients into my
Yeah.
muscle too, so I'll take it.
Yeah. There is a study that actually I'm not gonna say proves, but had shown that taking an intra, um, there was a greater gain, I guess.
Hmm.
People recovered better. It was more hypertrophic.
Hmm.
Nice word.
Oh,
Oh,
for
nice.
you bros, good luck with that one. Dude, I had I like this was before I really was introduced to kind of like the premise behind intros and all that stuff. I kind of had my own, like I kind of deduced stuff on my own, and I was rocking an EAA, carbohydrate, and a creatine, as well as
Yeah.
citrulline with a vasodilator. That was it. And the
Yep.
idea was cell swelling, just deliver and swell
Give
the
it
cell.
nutrients. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Just like shunt as much as you possibly can into the cell itself. So you've got
Yeah.
the carbohydrates, water retentive, the creatine, water retentive, the citrulline vasodilates things, so it allows it to get in, and then the EAA, which is also kind of nice just to have there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I was a good idea looking back on it.
Yeah. You were a wizard. You
I
should have sold that.
was
You would have made
like,
millions.
yeah, dude, I was an alchemist level
Millions.
10, dude.
Coming back to money talk.
Money talk.
Millions.
Welcome to the investment talk.
Investment. That's right. All right. We'll uh we'll wrap up supplements. I think uh I think we've said all we had to say about that one.
Yeah, I
All
think so.
right. So we're gonna nail another Kev question here. Said what is our routine for tracking food?
Hmm.
So Brandon, do you track your food?
No,
No? Not
no,
at all.
Not like
Do you-
I am no longer like super anal about things like tracking. I mean, I'm sure if I ever get back into the situation where, and don't get me wrong, like if I'm going to contest prep and I'm like, prepping or something, I'll probably be tracking. But ideally, the way that I like to go about tracking is as little stress as possible. So if I do get like an adjustment to my, um, to my macros or something, and I don't know what that's supposed to look like in each meal, then I'll probably track and I'll weigh my stuff out and I'll get a really good visual of what's going on in front of me so that I no longer have to just do this day in and day out. So like I'll kind of like look at the food, remember it, save it, and then I can just kind of rinse and repeat, put the same amount generally on my plate each time. And then if
Yes,
I get the
sir.
next adjustment, I just kind of reweigh my stuff, reacclimate myself, take another screenshot, and I just keep going.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty similar to what I do too. You know, when I was dieting, I was a lot closer about it. It was a lot more regular for me to kind of track everything just to make sure. Especially because for a while in there, I tried to keep it interesting. Follow, do it if it fits your macros style thing. A pretty good amount. So if you're doing if it fits your macros, tracking is pretty important, and you kind of gotta track everything. But if you eat just about the same thing every single day, which is kind of where that's where I got to in my diet, and that's kind of what I do now for the most part, is you track it once and then you just eat the same thing,
Yeah.
and that's it. You
Yeah.
know, I'll get my macros, and then I will plan out what a day would look like for me. But most times, especially now that I'm in a surplus, it's a little bit more free. But it'll be instead of okay, I have to just eat 6 ounces of chicken this meal. It'll be okay, I have to eat 6 ounces of meat this meal, or okay, I need 70 grams of carbs in this meal, and at this point, I can kind of do the conversion between all of my carbs for what I need. So 250 grams of rice is 50 grams of carbs, 50, 60, one of the two. Um, and if you double that, so 500 grams of potato is the exact same amount of carbs.
Hmm.
So I just, I kind of learned those conversions. But for the most part, I just eat the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And so I only track it when there's a change, or if really now at this point, if there's a major change, a lot of times my stuff only gets moved by like 20 grams in a single meal
Yeah, I was gonna
right
say.
now. Right. And so instead of going back through and tracking everything, I go, okay, I need 100 more grams of rice in
Yeah.
in this meal, right? Or I need half a cup more oats. So that's kind of how I go about things. But when I am tracking stuff, I use MyFitnessPal, super easy stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I like the barcode scanner, so
Barcode
that's
scanner
how I
is
do it.
clutch.
Yeah, but
I like what
for the
you
most
do where
part,
you like put everything like in one bracket too. Like so with
yeah.
Brady, I don't want to like just do you want to explain kind of what you do? Like you put it all in one bracket instead of like snack, lunch, dinner, breakfast.
Yeah, so I'll put it all into like where it says breakfast. I'll just put all of my food that I was going to eat for the day in breakfast so that I can see the total amount of food that I have to have for the day. So instead of it being, okay, I need 4 ounces of meat for breakfast, 5 ounces of meat at lunch, 6 ounces of meat at dinner, I can just go, okay, I need 15 ounces of meat for the whole day. And
Mm.
then I can just break it up however. Um, and that's how it goes for everything. Okay, I need this much rice for the whole day, and then I break it up however. And then, okay, I need this much fats for the whole day, and I break it up for however. And then you take a look at how your coach has your macros planned out, and likely it's going to have more carbs post-workout, and depending on your coach's style, you'll have more fats in the beginning of the day versus the end of the day, or where your training is. I personally don't like to have fats right after training, um, just because fats just slow down digestion, and that's the last thing I want right after training. So I kind of remove my fats from post-workout, and I put more of them right at the beginning of the day. So, you start to make those adjustments, but if you know everything you have to eat for the day and you can see it all in one block, it's really easy to just plan out everything. So that's my style, is
Mm-hmm.
figure out everything I have to eat for the day, and then you can either prep it the day before or prep it all in the morning, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. Boom.
So that's
Yeah. Make it as easy as possible on yourself.
exactly.
Literally. The
Yeah.
more you complicate things and the more you get tied up with like titrating and moving grains of rice from the counter into your bowl
Right.
because you don't want to miss those, like that gets really annoying. And the other
Yeah.
annoying thing is like when you get like you'll get to a point where like you're gonna look at your plate and you're gonna be like, that's like 50 grams of carbs. And then you're gonna weigh it and then you're gonna be like, oh, that's exactly what I thought. Why
Yeah.
am I weighing this again?
But, granted, it does take some time to kind of get to that point. If you're
hmm
brand new, if you're someone who's brand new that's listening to this, probably not the approach you should take. Actually, definitely not the approach you should take, because you will wildly under or overestimate it.
Yeah.
So,
Typically when you start looking at your calories and you start microing really you get like really micro-y with it, usually you'll under estimate the amount of calories that you're taking in. So
yeah.
and also something I wanted to say was like if you're like Brady was saying, don't just do this like on a whim if you've never really done it. Like the objective with tracking is to use it also as a tool. So if you can use tracking as a tool to get better at understanding the food that's in front of you and the macros inside of that food to the point where you're completely autonomous and you no longer need a scale because you can just analyze a food and you can just pop it up in your head like a robot, then
Yeah.
that is best case scenario, right?
Right.
If you can just carry yourself through a prep perfectly and not even think twice and not weigh or measure a single thing, that is the most ideal thing. And it works out and you win. That is obviously the ideal thing. But,
Yeah.
if you need a little bit of help here and there, or, you're a little bit more new and you need to kind of understand, you need it as a tool to help you understand the food that's in front of you, then use it for like a month or two and get really, really good at it so that eventually you don't need it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to be overly anal about it, especially if you eat the same things every day.
Yeah.
So, as long as you're setting everything up the same way, if you're consistent with everything, at the end of all dieting studies and whims and conversations and arguments, at the end of the day, it's you have to be in a surplus to gain weight and you have to be in a deficit to lose weight. So if you eat the same thing every day and you're gaining no weight, but you're also losing no weight, you then just have to add or subtract food from that. And that's it. You just
Yeah.
go, okay, I was eating this amount of food in the day. So, and I'm trying to lose weight and I wasn't losing weight. I'm going to take out a little bit of rice from this meal and
Mm-hmm.
see what happens. And that's really the basics of it. You don't have to know exactly what your calories are or what your macros are, if you're eating the same thing every day. You can just chip away at whatever your meal is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to overcomplicate everything.
No.
So,
And it doesn't really help to do that in the first place.
no, it's you're gonna end up doing what Brandon and I do with pills, and we overcomplicate taking our pills, and then we start pushing it off, and then
Yeah.
we don't adhere to it, right?
Exactly.
Because we
Yeah.
we've overcomplicated taking them.
Yes.
There
Yep.
there's a certain criteria that has to be met for us to take
hmm
our pills, and it's not realistic for us.
Yeah, like that was a good way to put it. we've placed ourselves in the confines of our own box.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, with macro tracking, keep it as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever way is going to work for you, that's the best way. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's whatever is going to make you adhere to plan.
And if you're someone who likes tracking, by all means,
Yeah. Rock on.
knock yourself out.
If you like seeing those numbers perfect every day, fucking rock on, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is the same thing every day.
Yeah.
If that is a sense of achievement for you and that's what keeps you on track to do the next day, then that is exactly what you have to be doing. It's whatever is going to be conducive to your own success. It doesn't matter what anybody on the gram says. It doesn't matter what anybody on YouTube says. It doesn't matter what we say is the best. What matters is what's going to get you to be successful. And that's it.
Yeah. Well said,
Bam.
man.
Yeah. I think we got macro tracking there. All right. Rapid fire question. Would you rather know when you were going to die or how you were going to die?
Oh man. I guess know when I'm gonna die.
Yeah. 100% agree. Why?
So that I can jam pack as much as I possibly can before that ETA.
All right. I'll tell you why I
Yeah.
agree with you, but from a different perspective.
Interesting.
If I know when I'm going to die, I will know that anything that I do up to that point will not kill me. I
It's like
can
you're
do
gonna.
there is so much freedom in knowing that you could do anything and not die in that moment.
All right, yeah,
Right?
that's a little bit crazy. Like, imagine if like you had like your ETA was like a week out and you just decided to like jump off a bridge, but then all of a sudden like there just so happened to be a party boat underneath the bridge with like
Right.
giant pillows and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know,
You
anything
can
could
go
happen.
into any situation knowing, yep, I'm gonna make it out of this.
That's way more fun than me just being like, it's a race to the end.
It's erased. But
Brady's like, I can do
and
whatever I
then
want.
I can do everything. But from the other perspective of knowing how you die, that would cause me so much stress and panic
Yeah.
to try and avoid every single time that situation could possibly come up.
Like, imagine if it was like in your sleep, you'd be like,
Right. You're like, oh my
I'm
God.
not going to bed tonight.
Right. Yeah. And so I just, again, I don't like to be stressed.
Yep.
And so one would induce stress, the other would remove all stress from my life.
Yeah. It would be
So,
really stressful knowing how.
yeah, it would. Because imagine it was something like,
Car.
yeah,
Or
you get hit
like,
by a car.
or like
Like, you
piano.
would,
Or something really abstract
you,
like
you would
monkey.
never want to go out to the street. Like you
Yeah.
would never want to go out on the road. You would never go out and walk around town anymore. You'd be
Mm.
terrified every single corner you turned for
Yeah.
the rest of your life, which could be fucking 90 years,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You could live for a super long time and then your crotchety 100th birthday, you're walking across the street and some dude slams you with a car.
Yeah. Dude, that's been my biggest. I've been not that exact thing that you just said, but I say that a lot where it's like there's so many people that are just wrapped up in like things, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is that there is always going to be so much happening, and what you really should pay attention to is the stuff that's happening in front of you, and you need to go after things, like chase your goals and share experiences with people, and have a good time and like live your life here on earth and not be so enveloped in things and consumed in things that detract you from the things that you should be doing, like spending time with your family or lifting or just doing good things in general.
Yeah.
And like I used to have this analogy where it was like I don't know if you've ever seen like pictures of the old guy, like maybe like homeless guys, and like they're holding up signs that say the world's about to end or something like that. It's like these guys, they hold up these signs their entire life to not get taken out by the world. They just end up like, just dying by old age or something. It wasn't the end of the world. And they spent their entire life invested in it. And over what? The end of the world that never happened. So it's kind
Right.
of like you should have used all that time on yourself and working on yourself and being the best person that you possibly can be and not, getting distracted with other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's paralysis by analysis,
Yeah,
You
sure.
overthink a single thing and it suddenly becomes your only thought.
Yeah.
And instead of just working on other things, you're so focused and caught up that you just miss everything else.
Yep. So Brady, give me the day. Give me the day. That's all I'll need.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I've known this whole time. Yeah, for sure. But if you have a different perspective to that, let us know down in the comments. That'd be cool. Maybe there is a good reason for knowing how you die.
Yeah, maybe we're like missing something.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. So feel free, open our eyes, and let us know in the comments. All right. Now that we just had that lovely note, it's time to get into a rant. So
Oh boy.
I was surfing the gram just a little while ago, and I saw someone ask a question about a certain exercise being good for hypertrophy or not. As in, actually, specifically, the question was, is the front squat good for hypertrophy or not?
Period.
Well, it would be a question mark.
Oh yeah. Question mark.
Well, actually, it was question mark and then followed up with
4 quads.
some other guy said it wasn't, and it's bullshit.
So
And so
so
the
let me get this straight.
first,
So
yeah, go ahead.
some dude asked on some dude's story. He's like, "Yo, are front squats good for hypertrophy?"
Because
Question mark. I almost said period.
question mark.
Question mark.
This guy says they're bullshit.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
For hypertrophy.
For hypertrophy,
All right.
right.
So my first pet peeve with this question right off the bat is that it doesn't make too much sense. All right.
Exactly.
Hypertrophying what?
Growing muscle.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like you would think that he'd get a little bit more specific too, right? Like because quite honestly, anything you do will cause hypertrophy, like technically
yes.
speaking.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's like the one thing with me in that question so far. Um,
So, the thing about this question, we're actually going to go back to the paralysis by analysis thing. Any exercise that will load you in a stretched position will force hypertrophy.
Yeah.
Like, don't overthink it. If the muscle is stretching and contracting, not necessarily as important to fully contract, but fully stretch, it will elicit hypertrophy.
Yeah.
Like that's as complicated as it needs to get. It's not is one exercise. The answer's not no. Okay. it
It's a hard
it's
question. I mean, it wasn't a hard question. The question was just, I think, just where he was coming from. Also, may have
but
been a little bit off too.
you see these questions a lot. Like, are hammer curls good for hypertrophy versus strict curls,
Yeah,
or
usually
versus
it's like
normal dumbbell
in
curls?
comparison with something else as
I
well. Yeah.
have to assume it was in comparison to a back squat.
Yeah, and for his quads.
Yeah, we'll
Just what I'm
make
thinking.
that assumption because some guy was saying they're bullshit, which means he's probably on the side that back squats are better.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah,
Probably.
that
You
would be
know.
a safe deduction. But now we're
Yeah.
really trying to deduce. We're really assuming here.
Yeah. So we're going off an assumption now, but people have this either or mentality.
Hmm.
It, actually, we talked about it last episode. People want to die on a hill,
Yeah.
and
Black
there's
or white,
not,
back squats or
yeah,
front squats. What's best?
right, exactly. And it's like, do both and figure out which one's best for you. How about
Hmm.
that?
Yeah.
How about that?
How about
Right?
that?
How about you try them both and you figure out which one you got better results with and run with it.
Hmm.
Do both to the best of your ability. It doesn't have to be an either or. This question relates to when someone goes, should I do, cable curls or dumbbell curls? Why not both?
Yeah.
Right? Like do it all. Should I do overhead press or should I do machine overhead press?
Yes.
It just why not do them both? It
Hmm.
blows my mind. People spend so much time trying to find the perfect exercise to throw into their perfect training split that they got from somebody that says something is bullshit, and
Hmm.
they just waste so much time instead of just getting in there, doing what's hard and figuring out what works best for them. It just blows my mind. People are always looking for what's optimal, but there's no possible way for one person to say what's optimal for everybody.
Yeah, that's
It's not
impossible.
possible. You
That's
can't do it.
impossible. Yeah.
Every single person, we're very similar, but we are also different, and differences between back squat and front squat, you know, they are different exercises, but they are relatively similar patterns. It
Yeah.
is the same pattern,
Hmm.
you know, and so what one is going to work best for you is going to completely depend on your mechanics and where your other strengths are, and it's
It's pretty
ask.
strange how people come to these questions too, though. You know, like the thought process that leads these people to certain conclusions also is like, how did you get there? Or,
Well,
that's like sometimes it's cool to, I like thinking about that too, like the thought process behind the questions that even I have too, but like other people have sometimes.
I
Yeah.
think it comes down to by human nature, we want to be the most efficient machine possible.
We don't
And
want to
we
waste time either.
Yeah, and we want everything to be efficient. We want to get the most for our time. We want to get the biggest bang for our buck while we're in the gym. And so people are always looking for, well, what's the best
Yeah.
exercise? When really it's for most people, their best training progress isn't going to come from a change between a front squat and a back squat. It's going to come from learning to stop ending your reps at 10 and go until you fail. Or it's going to progress when you stop taking 8-minute breaks between sets. Or it's going to progress when
I just totally knocked over all my cream of wheat, but it's a good thing I ate it.
a
Whew.
good thing you ate it.
Fuck.
It's probably best you stop me there, because
All
I'll
right.
go all day about how people want to change the minute details in their training, but they don't want to look at the food they're eating, or they don't want to look at how hard they're training. They just want to find what is the best exercise.
Yeah, like what's the best supplement I can take for gain? Dude, I was in a GNC, right, one day and I had this dude come in and I'm like looking at stuff and I hear him on the side and he's just like, I'm looking for a pill that's just gonna get me big. You got that? And I was like, the fuck? I was like, this dude just wants a pill to get him big. It's like, that's not how it works. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
work like that, you know? Like it's okay to want to like be good. I think it's a good thing that people want to strive for better or
well,
be the best.
maybe you just missed part of the conversation. He wasn't talking about muscles. He was looking for something else to get him big.
A little help,
A little help,
a little
Maybe.
vasodilation.
Yeah, a little bit of
He's like, yes, we have citrulline right here. We've got this pump workout should work very well for
Dude,
you.
that was probably one of the funnier questions that I heard on another podcast one time was, have you ever taken a pump product before sex?
I've heard it does good.
And ever since that, I just like I keep
You're like,
thinking about it. I'm like
you're not
it
serious?
would definitely work.
Yeah,
Like
I think it does. Like, it actually does.
it would just crack me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I've known some people that have taken like a Viagra pre-workout
Oh,
because
oh,
it's not like a
okay.
Viagra specifically just targets your penis.
No. Yeah, it's a
No,
vasodilator.
it's just a vasodilator.
Yeah.
And so really you could just take a Viagra pre-workout.
That is not, we are not suggesting you do this though. Just
I am.
just for just for reference. All right, guys.
I'm just saying it's an option, you know.
That's what all ideas here. Like
Oh,
now we're gonna have like everyone that's listening in, they're all gonna be
we are
popping
gonna
Viagra's
have this is we are way off the path today. We're all over the place.
yeah, it's 10:30 at night here, guys.
Yeah.
Shooting another late night episode here for you guys.
Yeah. It's all right. It
This will be
it brings good funny conversation.
I think so.
But yeah, so you know,
So yeah.
to kind of recap into the rant.
Yeah,
If
can I come back into that rant?
yeah. Yeah, go.
So I think it's always good to ask questions because if someone's asking questions in the first place, it means that they have a curiosity about learning more to improve themselves in some area. So I think
Yeah.
I think it's good baseline that everyone has a question and you should ask your questions. And I actually do think that there really aren't any bad questions. The question that we did have there just now, that needed a little bit more um, context, in my opinion, just because of like the way it was kind of worded. Um, so yeah, when it comes to like getting an answer for what is the best, like is this the best exercise? Is that the best exercise? Is that the worst exercise? Like generally speaking, there is never going to be a best exercise or a best supplement or a best movement. There's going to be and I'm actually a firm believer that there are really no bad exercises. You can only do them improperly and they'll
Yeah.
mess you up. Um, and very similarly, I think that there are really only like there are good exercises and then there are better exercises than others for certain things. So there are better exercises to load you, um, like with a shit ton of weight. Most likely barbell movements, dumbbell movements. There, there are exercises that you can do that are a little bit better for focusing on the isolation of certain things, isolation machines, cables, things like that. So, there's it's everything is very circumstantial, and there's always going to be a but as long as you can cover that but or explain that but or the why, the reason behind it, then you should be green to go. But if you can't really explain why something is better than something else, especially when it's in comparison, then you really have nothing to kind of back that to suggest that you should do something over another, do one thing over another, because you need to know a lot more about those two things. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if we change how we ask our questions, um, as a whole, we'll get a lot further with the answers that we get. Um, you know, we shouldn't be asking questions in.
I think the more we learn, the better our questions get too.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Again, I don't know anything on the background of this person. I just see these types of questions a lot that
Mm-hmm.
are, should I do only this or should I do only this? And it's probably not an either or where, okay, I can only do back squats or okay, I can only do front squats. Um, you can probably do both.
Yeah.
And so with asking questions about which is better, a lot of it's going to come down to yourself. And so if you're one of those people that has one of these questions, why don't you try doing it? Why not test on yourself, which is better for you, and figure out why. Why did this work better for you versus why the other one didn't work as well? So specifically, we'll just keep going back to the squat question. Instead of asking someone else which is better for hypertrophy, back squats or front squats, why don't you take 8 weeks to just front squat instead of back squat, and then after that take 8 weeks to just back squat instead of front squat, and see which one jived with you a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Be willing to recognize that you might not have the function to do one of the two or both.
You might
You know,
realize you really hate the front squat.
right? And it might just not work with you, because at the end of the day, if there's an exercise that jives better with you, so say front squats just works better for you. You feel better in the movement, it moves better, even if the front squat was a better movement for hypertrophy, which it would be, or in this scenario, and let's say it is minimally better for hypertrophy, that 1% better. If you can't perform the front squat well, you're now less than the 1% better. You'll get more from the back squat than you would the front squat because you can perform the back squat better. Right?
Yeah.
So that's, shape your training a bit more around what works best for you.
Mm-hmm. See,
Instead
and
of
then we can keep going because, and then the next block would be, well, now you have a shitty front squat. So what are we going to do about that? Why is your front squat shitty?
why is
Maybe
your
you need
front
to
squat
work on
shitty? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So
And
maybe it's the
then
function of your
address
hips.
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Address that issue
Yeah.
and then come back to it.
Yeah. So that's like kind of the more you learn, the better your questions become. So
Right.
like I have now learned that back squat fits me a little bit nicer. Why does
Yep.
back squat fit me nicer? Why
Yeah.
does front squat not fit me as nice? So
Yeah. So,
just 3D level
your
thinking.
your first question is going to scratch the surface. I mean, this is what all research is. This is what research is, right?
Yeah.
Your first question scratches the surface. You get a result from that, and then you ask why.
Yeah.
And then you do what you have to do to find the answer to why, and then go back to the initial question.
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep doing that, and you get deeper and deeper into your research.
Yeah.
And then finally, you'll come up with an answer that should be evident of all of the questions that you asked, and it should be a very cohesive flow chart to why,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And keep in mind that if you're testing this on yourself, that flow chart really only works for you,
Mhm.
right? So when someone says the front squat is shit and it doesn't work, maybe it doesn't work for them, maybe because they didn't take the time to address their hip function or their tight lats or
Yeah.
their shitty shoulder mobility and function. Maybe it was
Mm-hmm.
any of those things. Or maybe they have stupidly long femurs. It could be numerous different things. So take the time to do your own research on yourself and adjust your training that way. If you have a coach, um, a good coach will be willing or should be willing to have those conversations and talk through those whys with you and maybe help push your research along,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so if someone blanket statement says one is better than the other, um, they're probably wrong.
Yesterday, so if you could think about information coming from a well, and then the influencers are the people that are going to the well, and then they put their own little stuff in there, and then they give it to the people, right? It's on you to it's always on you to either believe or not believe the information that's coming in. And basically, you should always believe that anything that gets told to you is a straight up lie until you prove it true. You should never just take everything at face value and believe it. So if you're getting information from this Chad that says front squats are no bueno, and then you take it at face value and you say, okay, but what you don't know is that this Chad has really long femurs or has really poor function of his hips or something like that. But you took what he said at face value. So he can't even squat, and then he tells you that, hey, like the front squat does not work for me. Doesn't work for you either, just because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
And now you believe that, and now you'll never front squat again. So like Brady was saying, it's much better to just go to the well, to front squat, to back squat, to figure out what is good, to experience it for yourself, and then now you will really have a much better foundation for asking questions too. On
Yeah.
top, just figuring out the answer to your question, but it will also give you more questions as well.
Right. Yeah. And I think that all comes as part of training age a little bit.
Yeah. Experience.
Experience. And the people that you've met and talked to, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you are someone, because there are dudes in my gym that have not been exposed to any of the people that we've been exposed to,
Right.
and they're doing the same thing that they've been doing from day one because they know the input never changed. So the more input you can get from a diverse area, the better output you'll be able to have.
Yeah. Learn from as many hills as you can, and then figure out how you want to walk across them.
Yeah. That was kind of how I always did it too. Like I always like if I saw something like imagine you had like a store and on the store it was like trying to think. Just like function, right? Of like
Sure.
hips, shoulders, spine. It's like, oh, like there's a the hip, shoulder, and spine function store. I'm gonna go in there and see everything that they have to offer. And then
Right.
I'm gonna like buy a few things, and then I'm gonna come out of that store. And then oh, look, there's the gym. I don't even know. Like here's the West Side Barbell store, and then you go into the West Side
Yeah.
Barbell store, and then you take from there, and then oh look, there's a yoga store. I'm gonna go into that yoga store. Oh, there's the Wim Hof breathing store. I'm gonna go in there, and then eventually you've gone to all these stores, you've changed your input, you've gathered all of these things, and now you have like this great like mixing pot of, or you have this giant tool belt with like all these things now that you can kind of use at your
That's
disposal.
exactly it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Grow your knowledge. Don't take everything at face value, but use a blanket statement to drive why questions. So that's that rant actually turned into something
Good.
worthwhile. Yeah. We told people how to do their own research. Nice. Wow. We're happy today.
Hey, it's been a while, man.
Yeah, I feel good. All right. Ooh, this is a good question for you. I have my answer. What do you think is the worst part about bodybuilding on a daily basis?
Like personally as a joke, eating. Personally as a joke, eating. Honestly,
Yeah, no,
that can
that's
get
totally
sometimes.
valid.
That's yeah. But honestly, something that does get to me is the acceptance from other people.
Yeah,
If
wow,
we're really gonna be serious, I
that got
think.
deep.
Yeah. Right. Like weird.
Really?
Like it's just like if I wanted to like go to the gym or it's like always like around dinner time or like my friends are all hanging out and I'm never there. I'm always in the gym or
Yeah,
that's kind of like what I hear all the time. That's kind of like blanket statement. I'm never don't care about my friends. I just work out. Like that's and that like when you hear that from your friends, you're like, oh
it
fuck.
hurts.
Like it
Yeah,
hurts a little bit, yeah. And you're like, that's not true, dude. I do got to go to the gym right now, but it's not true.
right.
Like, so that's pretty much what I would say. You know,
Wow, that was a way better answer than mine.
sorry, Brady.
Damn. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna.
Okay, well.
Shit, man. I'm just gonna follow that up with, and you know, she is listening. So I don't get to actually complain about this very much. But the most annoying part about bodybuilding for me on a regular basis is the amount of dishes that it creates. Dude, and I'm very thankful. Haley does most of the dishes,
Yeah.
most most of the time. Um, oh, did you hear her?
I heard that just a little bit.
Yeah, so very, very thankful for that. Um, but I body built.
Yeah, I think so. With a T. That's a
I
T.
I body built. Well, Haley wasn't here, and it's just
The
it is
dish
a
amount didn't
very
change.
it's a very yeah, right, it didn't change. I think I had more dishes then than I do now. Um,
Somehow.
but yeah, it's just the amount of dishes it creates, dude. It's so much because you make so much food all the time, and it's you try and
I love the fact that you were like, yo, what irks you about this? And I was like, I just want to be accepted. And you're just like, I just wish I didn't have any dishes. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's funny. That is valid though, Brady. That is valid. No one likes dishes, yo.
Yeah. And
F's in the chat for dishes, bro.
they are annoying. We even have a dishwasher, but we don't use it.
Okay.
The reason is if we were to use a dishwasher, we would run out of dishes in 2 days. So
Yeah.
it's easier like we'd have to run the dishwasher like every other day.
Mm. With like
One.
half the dishes in it.
Yeah, right. And it's just like I'm gonna run out of plates, bowls, spoons way faster than filling up the dishwasher. And it's easier to just wash them and put them in a drying rack and then
Yeah.
use them.
Yes, dude.
Really, I use like the same bowl over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Right?
Like just like a bowl, a fork, and a knife with a B on it.
Right. It's like I could use the same, no fork, only
Yeah.
spoon.
Yeah, only spoon. Spoon gang.
Spoon gang, team spoon. But yeah, it's annoying, man.
Yeah.
But yours, dude. Yeah, I think the one I don't feel that one because I don't really have many friends. Rip. Uh,
F's
rip.
in the chat for Brady.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I don't really have that many people that I would go hang out with.
Mm.
Um, yeah, like
Not
my
really like
my
a big
friends,
hanger outer either.
my friends I all see on video calls
Yeah. I'm
and
50% of
podcasts.
them.
Right, right, and Brandon is 50% of them. Yeah, so the other friends I see on Saturday.
It's a little lonely. Yeah,
So
at 12 o'clock.
at 12 o'clock. Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just kind of how I like things because it allows me to do the things that I want to do, I guess. Like I don't mind
I'm
not
very good.
having friends, I
Yeah.
guess. Um, just because I, the kind of person that I am, I feel the constant pressure to please other people.
Mm.
Um, and so when I have a lot of friends, I end up just getting completely overwhelmed with trying to make sure they are all happy.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's a lot easier for me to just be distanced and do my own thing, which allows me to kind of walk through different paths and I can bodybuild and I can play video games and or
Mm-hmm.
I go hike and I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't feel like I have any obligation to hold I guess a relationship with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sometimes they can be exhausting too.
dude, it is. It
They
is
can be
exhausting.
exhausting.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just the kind of person that I've always been.
Yeah.
It has
Lone
its
wolf.
pros and cons for sure. But with bodybuilding, it helps. But I'm trying to make friends in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Just
Trying.
I think of anybody, bodybuilders get that friends can't always be like up each other's ass.
Yeah.
Because bodybuilders know, okay, I got shit I gotta do.
Yeah, they're not gonna
Is
eat for me. They're not gonna live that way for me.
right, exactly. And so, as bodybuilders, you understand that other people have other commitments to their own success,
Yeah.
um, which is nice because they don't expect you to talk with them all the time or,
Hmm.
give them things or any of that stuff. Bodybuilders they work for everything that they have and they're busy all the time.
Yeah.
So,
With not a lot
uh,
to show for it.
but you know what?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love this.
Ah, I love this sport.
I need money. No.
Pay me now. Here's my PayPal link.
PayPal links in the description. Mm,
uh, but yeah,
Watch me
man,
on
like,
Twitch.
you talk about like what is your friend base?
Um,
Like, who are your
very
friends?
tight. Very tight, I would
Yeah.
say. And I usually travel like kind of between like like how you have like I'm like thinking back in like high school days where you have like the one group that you really chill with, but then you had like satellite groups that you kind of would like bounce in between, you know what I mean? Fuck, dude. All right, I'm
No, I'm
sorry.
sorry, man.
Jesus, dude. Now you're making me really feel
I've
like
been
a
this
dick.
way my whole life, dude.
All right. Well, if it's not for nothing, man, I was not popular by any means. I was pretty much eating glue up until my senior year.
Uh,
Not Mr. Popular by any means, but I was definitely like I wasn't on anyone's bad side by any means.
yeah,
So and I was like, I was generally cool with everyone. No one really had anything bad to say about me. I didn't have anything
yeah,
bad to say about anyone else either.
sure,
And then like obviously as we grew up, the same friend group that I kind of chill with, they're still around. They live around my area. So shout out to Zach and Dan and Vinny and Miller, and Dom. These guys they've been around the area. If I'm missing anyone, I'm sorry. I love you. But like they live around the area. I don't see them like every day, definitely by any means, but I do see Zach and Dan like once or maybe like once every other week,
Mhm.
twice every other week sometimes. And Dan lives just up the road, so it's nice to just
Mhm.
kind of like I used to run up to Dan's house like back in second grade. I used to call him on the landline and be like, "All right, time me. I'm gonna run up there, see how long it takes." I'd like sprint up there.
Time
So
me.
like these guys are like my best friends from like mad long ago. So
Gotcha.
I still talk to them and they're around me and stuff. So
Hmm.
I am fortunate that they haven't really moved around or moved away because I know that you've had a few friends that have like kind of moved away, like everyone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they have all moved, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's interesting, man.
yeah, and
I I was
yeah,
definitely like I was the guy. Everybody was cool with me, but
mm-hmm,
I was never the guy that got invited anywhere. Like
mm-hmm,
that was kind of like my relationship with everybody. Especially in like high school when uh when I started to become more of a person. I just
I don't even think I was like, dude, I didn't start being a person until I was like in college, honestly, like a year after.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like my identity has changed a lot
Same.
of times.
Yeah, I think so too.
Especially between high school and now.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the end of high school, I was more liked as a human, um, I guess. But yeah, no, I was the guy that everybody would like say hi to,
Mm-hmm.
um, and have general conversation with, and probably at some point we could share some sort of story together
Mm-hmm.
because we happen to be in the same vicinity at the same time. But I was never the guy that got invited to any of the parties, or I never felt I didn't even eat in the lunchroom. But if I were to have eaten in the lunchroom, there there would have
Why?
never been. Oh, I was a band guy, so
Oh,
I
okay.
I ate in the band room and
Gotcha.
just practiced. Yeah, that was me.
Gotcha.
But
Word.
if that further explains things.
And the plot thickens.
And yeah, so if I were to have gone into like the lunchroom, like I wouldn't have had a table to sit at.
Hmm.
Any of those things. Like I didn't really have like a crew of friends.
No, dude. You didn't have like one best friend.
I've got it's so crazy because the one best friend that I've had for a really long time is really, really similar to me. And so we got into high school and we're still friends, and all that. But we both became so involved into what we were doing that neither of us felt any sort of loyalty or obligation to each other,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't like we had to eat lunch together every day and talk about, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It was like, so, what he did, he was also a musician. He was very, very good. And he was very dedicated to his music career. And, it showed. He went on to play with world-class drum corps that traveled all over the United States
Hmm.
and, one of the best to do it. And so he was very successful in what he did. And I was very busy doing my own things. I picked up working. I liked money. And so I was
Oh yeah.
very focused on making money and learning what to do with my money and all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
so we both just kind of like put our heads down and went to work. And so there wasn't really ever that obligation to be with each other and really do things with each other,
Hmm.
um, as much. But
Hmm.
we've been friends since first grade.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you
so
the kind of person that can like not see so like this friend in particular like you could just it'd be like
oh yeah,
never
yeah.
skip a
So
beat, right?
um, I actually realized just like a couple months ago that he was still in town.
Oh,
And so yeah, it's been like years.
damn. Yeah,
and
seriously.
so he came over and we chatted and we caught up and all that stuff, and it was all good to go. And he was working on some new things, and I happened to have already gone through some of those things, so I gave him some advice. I was like, hey man, here's kind of what I did, and this
Good
is what
stuff,
I would
Brady.
do if I was you. And we when we see each other, we try and help each other kind of build, which is something I try to do with everybody that I grow a relationship with. I want them to be more successful, but that's why it's also really hard for me to be friends with a lot of people because I end up just doing a ton of shit for everybody and I can't do anything
Mm,
for myself.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm very willing to offer up any of my skills and any time that I can give for other people. And I will very easily end up giving up my own time for other people.
Yeah.
And so it makes it hard to have a large group because I don't want any of them to not be successful. Because if I give time to this one person, I then have to give that same amount of time to everyone else.
Yeah. Well,
Or
Brady, you're just too goddamn nice.
I, I try my best to be. Sometimes it bites me in the ass.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
I could
try my
imagine
best.
it does.
You know,
Time is very valuable. So,
yeah. But you know, been working on myself for a while, so
yeah.
lots
Best
of
we
things
have, babe.
happening. Dude, I just try to do everything that I can. Like that's what it
Box.
comes down to. Like that's why we're doing this podcast right now. I was like, let's just do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why we're here. It's you know,
11 o'clock at night, and we're getting it done.
all right, it's 11 o'clock. We do what we got to do to get it done, and
Exactly.
that's it.
Banging it out.
It it's the same mentality as bodybuilding.
Yeah.
We do everything we can to make any sort of change possible.
Take it.
And keep her head down, put in the work, see what comes
Yep.
out the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yo, good shit, Brady.
That was a little opening up to whoever the hell I am, but that's me, guys. If you
This is a
made it
good
this
guy,
far,
Brady.
I hope that helped you with something. If you're like me, shoot me a message and we can say hi and then probably not talk again for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. If you were to message me and say hi, I would talk to you for as long as I could.
And more.
And more. I'd probably ask you what I could help you with.
Yeah. Ow.
But yeah, man. We're
Have
an
you
hour and a
gotten
half
some good?
in. I don't know if I have any other questions. Do you have anything you want to talk about, man?
Not at the moment, my dude. I'm gonna save it for the next one.
How much water are you drinking?
Not enough, honestly.
Mm.
You're making me thirsty. I gotta go drink some.
Dude, like half an hour into this podcast, I got so thirsty, but I was wondering if it was gonna be acceptable to like pull out the crazy straw in the middle.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so pro tip, everybody, if you're really busy, and you work at a desk all day long, get yourself an insanely long crazy straw, and then just stick the straw into your gallon jug, and then you can just sip on water all day while you're doing your work, and then you never have to take your hands off of what you're doing. So
Gotta
that's
keep it fun.
if if you have a hard time getting your water in and you sit at a desk all day, and the reason why you're not getting your water in is because you don't want to stop your work to then grab your jug and then take a drink and then set the jug back down and then try and get back into work. Get yourself a crazy straw and just sip all day long. You'll have a gallon down before lunch.
Pro tip. Pro
Pro
tips for
tip.
Brady, yo.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good shit.
But yeah, I think we'll close out here, dude.
Cool, man. It was nice seeing you, Brady.
Yeah, it was good chatting. Everybody, thank you for joining us. If you made it this far, uh, go ahead and hit that like button. Maybe turn on those notifications if you haven't. That way you never miss an episode. We do come out every Tuesday, unless something happens where we can't release on a Tuesday. But we try our best to release every Tuesday, and there's plenty more episodes to come. So be sure to keep an eye out, and we'll catch you all later.
Peace.
All right, everybody.